Call the meeting to order. If you do a roll call, please.
Seat A is vacant. Dave Tuttle,
Here.
Dan Fleckenstein,
Here.
Megan Montaigne, Reese Clayton,
Here.
Pledge allegiance. Dan, you want to lead it?
Sure.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so new year, new players. Need some nominations for chair and co-chair.
Can you say what the responsibilities thereof are?
Lead us in gainful conversation.
Okay.
Just oversee the meeting, try to keep us out of trouble.
Okay. That's
And then
good.
the co-chair would fill in if the chair is not here. So basically, run the agenda is the chair's responsibility, and then co-chair would be able to fill in if not available.
I would nominate myself as the co-chair of the Wasilla Parks and Rec Committee.
Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Dave Tuttle as chair of the committee.
I'd second that.
Any other? Okay, hearing no others. Election is closed. Looks like I'm chair and you're co-chair.
Great.
and all are in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Do you have any changes to the agenda this evening?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
Do you have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of minutes from September 17th last year.
I'll make a motion to accept them as written.
I will favor that motion.
You want a second?
Or second that motion.
All those in favor?
Is there time for discussion?
Oh, sure.
Okay. Under 6.2, Mr. Griffith's report, the last item, it mentions that they cleaned up several pounds of trash, and I believe it was more than that. Is that supposed to be several loads?
Scott, do you want to weigh in on that?
6.2,
Yes, the last item,
oh, the quantity.
yes.
I don't recall what his words were. I know it's an ongoing problem, and it's usually a significant amount of trash because they're clearing out homeless camps and such, but I don't have the pounds.
As I recall, it was several loads, was the words he used. I may be wrong on that, but I think it's certainly not several pounds. I mean, that's a paper bag full. And I'm sure there was, well, I would,
Well, it should reflect that the job was done with, I mean, several pounds is a lot different than several loads. And then they,
Yeah, we can get clarification. He's not here tonight, unfortunately, so
okay.
we'll bring that to the next meeting. Or we can email that out to the commission after we get
Okay.
the
All right.
info.
just verify it, clarify it.
Yep, you got that, Tim?
If you would. Thank you, Dan, for bringing that up.
Sure.
Staff reports, Mr. Scott?
Scott Powell, Recreational Services Director. Staff report. Couple of events we'd done for the community. One was Halloween Spooktacular at the Menard Sports Center, which was on October 31st. And we had an excellent turnout again for that one. We added a DJ and a little bit of a light show. And we learned the importance of not having a fog machine. Even though it was not a temperature based, it was a molecular moisture on the dust that set up the fire alarm. So we had a significant problem with the fog there. So the Menard Sports Center would be looking at remedying our older smoke detector, fire detectors and things like that. We're looking at changing out the whole system, upgrading the fire panel and things like that. But the event as a community event was fantastic. And we'll have that on the schedule again this coming year. And then the New Year's Eve fireworks show, so originally scheduled December 31st at 8 o'clock. That was, that day we called it due to a new weather wind advisory that was expected to hit. It was expected to start at 6 p.m. It was supposed to peak at 8 p.m., which was the start of the show. And based on the history of all the other windstorms we had and the accuracy of the forecasts, we did cancel that show. Then on Monday afternoon, we re-announced a new date, kind of having some fun. We kind of did we survived 4 windstorms in December celebration fireworks redo. So we had it Saturday on January 10th at 8 p.m. And we had a fantastic show, fantastic turnout. One of the things we kind of upped our game a little bit from last year again, DJ, lights, Make a Scene 95.5, The Pass did from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. We actually had an on-site event. And during that, they had live music, we did lights, they had coffee, they had hot cocoa, they had giveaways, and then we set up 3 s'mores propane tables, fires, so people could do s'mores and have some warm hand there. And so that turned out great. And by showtime, again, we've heard anywhere from 700 to 800 plus people out there just in the park, not just watching the show. So it really was pretty amazing, especially based on a refire or, not going off with the traditional, but it worked out really well. So that event went great. We'll look at kind of continuing how to improve that, but that scale in the event really, really kind of went off pretty fantastic. So it's amazing what you can do without wind and minus 20 degrees or whatever it was going to be originally. So
Mother Nature can.
yeah, we got through 17 degrees and no wind, so it was great. And then the upcoming event will be our cleanup days, and we are going with May 4th through the 9th. And I know that's on new business later, so just that is our next upcoming event. Social media, our Wasilla Park and Recreation, we're up to 3,933 followers at this time, and that is staff report.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
No public comments. Unfinished business? Anybody got unfinished business? I know of. Reese?
I'd like to make a motion to move from the unfinished business to our new business.
I'll second.
Okay, moving on then. New business. Park and Rec meeting of November 11th. That was,
Yeah, it was brought to my attention that November 11th is a holiday, and so we're wanting to know if we want to move the Park and Recreation meeting date to a different date.
yeah, that would be the following Wednesday or,
Yeah, I'd make a motion to do it the following Wednesday after the November 11th date.
so the 18th.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Any other comments? Dan?
No, that should work fine. I don't see any trouble.
I know I won't be here, but. Any other comments? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do you want to go back at the cleanup days, Scott?
Yeah, so new business, we're just kind of putting out there again. So the intent, the plan this year is cleanup days will be advertised May 4th through the 9th. And then one of the things that we did last year, which was kind of based on necessity, was what we did is instead of a dumpster all week with nighttime volunteering, I think the year before, Tammy can correct me, statistically, the Monday through Friday got maybe 5% of the trash, but we were having to staff it for that time. So last year, we just did a longer time on Saturday for trash distribution. And I think we had significant more success with that and the ability to cover monitoring the dumpster, because the key is that all the hazardous stuff doesn't make it into the dumpster because we get this all as a donation from the Matt Sue Borough waste department, things like that in the bags. So basically we would be doing what we did last year, just standard advertising with banners and such. And in the past we've pondered if we wanted to see if any companies want to sponsor it or relocate the dumpster to Wasilla Lake parking lot, just because it's more centrally seen. But we've had success, and the precedent is we've been in Idita Park parking lot. So I don't know if the commission is looking for us to expand this a little bit. Our challenge again is volunteers. Who did we have last year, Tammy, or was it just you being
me.
paid by us? Yeah, so that's where we just keep running into not having any volunteers to help support this event, but we still think the value of it is there. And we'll do like we did last year, which is anybody that submits photos of so we do a drawing for groups that submit a picture of their group out collecting trash. And then we will do prize for individuals or like a family that's out there. So we kind of do 2 pots. And like we have historically, Alaska Railroad has always donated some trip tickets as a great incentive and such. So we anticipate doing that program like we did last year, unless there's any other ideas, suggestions, or support from the commission.
I have a question. How is are we staying somewhat level as far as the amount collected each year? I haven't heard what we've done.
Yeah, I think in some of the past minutes, we get actually the weight from the borough when we take it through. We're 10,000 pounds.
I think so.
Usually so last year what we did we do one dumpster? One dumpster that basically, 140 cube dumpster usually gets filled. And with the staffing that we put on it, it also helps not get stuff that's not, roadside, the intent is roadside trash, not somebody's cleaning up their yard trash, right? And so, but I think historically we're in that 10,000 pound range.
Been staying pretty stable on that.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a little bit less last year because we didn't have quite as many groups dropping off. If you were there, Tammy, so you might be able to address that a little bit.
Yeah, the last couple of years, it's been a little bit less, but I think the reason why is because I've been there and we've been putting out more information to the public too, to let them know it's not to clean up their yard. It's just, debris around the city and stuff. So I think that's helped a lot. So people understand what the program's for. So.
And get the mayor usually puts that in his or her minutes, right?
And put it on Facebook.
Yeah, so the advertising for that normally is we do banners, big, large banners, one at Wasilla Lake on the pavilion. Then we do a few others around. We'll do Frontiersmen, and I think Make a Scene for that one. We'll do internal advertising, and then Facebook and city website stuff. So we hit it kind of from just about every angle that we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
And quick question on our Facebook page. Are we seeing comments, questions? Are we seeing, or is it just people that are looking at the page and seeing what's up? We're not seeing any input coming back?
Um,
Or are we asking for input?
our Facebook page for this group is, I don't want to say fairly static in the manner that it's more informational. It's not necessarily as interactive. A lot of it's because we don't have a lot of interactive topics. We use it again, like for the New Year's Eve fireworks show, for advertising that, those kind of things. So a lot of it is more just generic communication.
Okay.
Now, not knowing, and I don't have a timeline, it will be used significantly more when we go into the park comprehensive plan that's going to be contracted, and that will generate a lot of opportunity for that kind of thing. But at this time, yeah, it's fairly static.
Okay. I was just curious. We haven't talked about that for a while, so. Okay, no audience.
I had a question. Ken,
Yes.
if you could say, what does your activity consist of when you're manning the station? Is it handing out garbage bags or checking people in or out, or what does that amount to?
Yeah, so when I'm there monitoring the dumpster, the public, I'm just pretty much there most of the day, and people will come in and drop off their garbage, and I just have to, check with them, say there's no hazardous materials, no car parts, no furniture, things like that. And so if they need bags, we can give them bags there at that time and stuff too, but it's just mainly somebody there to kind of keep an eye on the flow and stuff.
Okay.
So,
Part of the program is we put in a request with the borough waste division, and they get us cases of the yellow Alpar bags, basically. So then we set up pickup points at Public Works, which is at City Hall, the Menard Sports Center, library,
oh, museum.
and museum, or museum,
Not the-
yeah.
Not the library, museum.
So we'll have those at those different pickup points. We advertise them, and then what we do is we pre-bundle them in pack sets of 3 or 4 or 5 bags, and then we will put the do's and don'ts, rubber band it, so anybody that gets it knows what they can and can't do. So day of, if it's not in a yellow bag, it's kind of an indicator that somebody might be doing something, they're just using their own personal trash bags.
Yeah.
So it's a way of kind of knowing what's coming in.
Okay.
And what we've done, because it's usually a 40 cubic yard, we actually bring out to kind of, for safety, we now have a portable set of stairs so staff can get to the dumpster height safely and put the trash in, where before it was Tammy chucking bags, and we don't want to do that anymore.
A little strenuous.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. Okay, thank you for that.
It's been a long process.
Real quick, I just have 2 ideas when it comes to the cleanup day. I do think it would be really cool if we could get a trash can over at Lake Lucille, especially since we only do the Saturday drop-off, and I could see that being really visible for the city of Wasilla. Like you said, it's kind of a split now between where people want to drive. Like, you definitely have a lot of people that use the park on a pretty regular basis, but I could see definitely Lake Lucille, especially like the parking lot or something. If we could somehow get a dumpster over there, I could see that being really, really big for the city. Other than that, a lot of it is communication. You guys were talking about the Facebook page, and that's one thing I think the city's done a really good job at recently, is communicating with the citizens and trying to let them know about the changes of the New Year's fireworks show and stuff like that. Being the fact that I was at the fireworks show, it was really incredible, not only the scale of it, but the amount of turnout that we had. We also have the Christmas decorations that are over in the city, and those are getting an incredible amount of people that are walking down. They walk all around the park late at night and are really using it properly. So the city's been really able to provide a safe environment for people to do that. It would be nice if we get a little bit more lighting over there, and I think the Christmas decorations kind of act like a lighting source for people to kind of walk around later in the evening and stuff like that. One thing that I did observe a lot from the fireworks show too are families. We have tons of families that really, really enjoy that stuff. So anything that we can provide for them, be it cleanup days where they can kind of show up as a family, it seems like anything that you can get, again, family activities kind of going right now is really, really beneficial for the city. So, but yeah, I think if we could somehow get another dumpster, I could see that being really awesome somehow.
If I can, I'll kind of hop on some of that. The energy at the fireworks show and everybody out there was amazing. Again, just kids dancing, snow angels. Everyone was just, it was a great energy out there, which was awesome. Since building parks is not here, I'll mini report for them. So going to the Christmas tree. So our intention was the 1st of December was to have the official tree lighting ceremony, which is in Idita Park on the rail car. And so the Parks Department every year is building more and more of those lights. And so they added a ton of them, and guess what? Windstorm. So it flipped, flew, twisted, torqued, and jacked up a lot of stuff. And so that event got canceled, so we didn't even do the lighting, the official lighting. And there was damage. It took them several weeks to repair. So they kind of recovered by New Year's Eve and such. And so that's, they keep improving that every year. And that is an event also that we're, from the city side, we are actually growing that to be, again, kind of a great turnout. Coco, we're going to try to get Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus next year. And just kind of keep every year. The intent is look at what we did, how can we make it a little bit better, and that's a big part of that tree lighting ceremony. As to the second dumpster, it'll go back to if we know in advance we have coverage, then we would. I'm comfortable getting another dumpster, but if we don't have coverage, then we're going to be careful about how we advertise it. So it'll be kind of as we get closer, say into mid-April, we'll know how our advertising will go for what locations that we have, but. I think it's one of those, again, it's a nice visual spot to put in what we're doing there. So,
Thank you. That answer your,
One thing I do have to say is even with our crazy windstorms, I saw the amazing crew of the city parks maintenance out there trying to do what they could to make sure everything was safe, everything was protected, making sure the investment in the city was really well maintained. And so, yeah, we have, again, the crew, Jesse and his crew do an incredible job working in some of the hardest conditions out there. When it's cold as snot, you'll see them out there maintaining it, making sure there's walkways for people to walk around and stuff. So definitely, again, our city maintenance crew has been incredible, and anything we can do to make sure they have the resources they can, I think is really critical.
yeah, and the part I left out, kind of supporting Mr. Griffith's department and all that they do, they actually had invested in more electrical so that they can plug in more spider boxes, and that's how they've been able to add all the lights because it was limited on the number of outlets. So and it'll help impact the 4th of July picnic of where they put stuff, so we won't be running cords as far as we used to and things like that. So they built in and they expanded the electrical kind of network significantly so we can keep doing things with the lights and such. So it's pretty cool.
quick question, have we, or do we, provide any kind of recognition for Jesse's outfit? I mean, his crew, from a standpoint of a thank you pizza party or, something especially for them as a way of saying thank you from the city?
Anything like that would be Public Works. We could certainly do a certificate of appreciation from the commission and perhaps have Jesse come and accept that on behalf of his department. We can do some pictures, things like that would be a great way of doing that, I think. Yeah, but I don't know what they do internally, so I don't want to answer for them, but
Okay.
yeah. He gets a lot of attaboys, but
Well, attaboys only go so far.
yeah.
But it, like Jesse was saying, there's a lot, Reese was saying, there's a lot of kudos that need to be spread out amongst his team.
Yeah.
And I just think that, recognition from the city is one thing, recognition from maybe this commission would be something else too. Maybe if we could write a letter of appreciation.
What I can do perhaps is maybe work with the clerk's office and maybe have something written up and or do a presentation at city council meeting or something like that. So, or at this commission meeting or
Yeah,
such, so we
Just
can look into
something.
that.
I mean-
Absolutely.
yeah. I think that it's well-deserved and we should keep that process going.
Yep, I like that idea.
I did have another question about the fireworks show. How did that work for you for the security side? I know in the past you had to get security. Did we have security this year, or how overall would you say the community did with the fireworks? It was an amazing, again, the size of it. So I'm sure keeping people under control was quite the task this year, quite the task, so.
Yeah, we've, and we'll continue, we have a budget for security. What I do is contract security company, and they provide 4 officers from 5 to 9 p.m. And they have set areas of responsibility, including behind the hill, walking the line, because we tape out the fallout zone. So our biggest problems usually are people trying to sneak up behind the hill to get up where the pyrotechnics are. So we've got somebody back there, then we caution tape off the fallout zone, and they monitor the whole area, because I know way back in the day it used to be kind of volunteer driven, but we just need to make sure it's being done safely. And people do an amazing job of respecting the caution tape. I think we had one person pop out, but it was like a half hour before, but we still are paranoid, because if we start a show and somebody goes in the fallout zone, we have to actually stop the show. And that's not fun for anybody, because once they press the button, it's all computer controlled and they do their whole thing. And we did get great support from City Council, and Councilmember Crafton had asked me to increase the budget for the fireworks show. So this year showed an increase in the budget for the fireworks show, which made the show better. Additionally, it helped offset, because fireworks just tend to get more and more expensive every year. And then one of the things that we get a big shout out to Guerrilla Fireworks, because they actually donate $10,000 worth of fireworks for that show. So a lot of the, what they call the cakes or the boxes, come from Guerrilla Fireworks, and all the big stuff, the 3-inch stuff, which is what our limit is, all comes from our provider, Atlantis Fireworks. So it's been a great culmination of support. Professional companies make a scene, everybody, and it just, again, has made this really a pretty big community event.
Again, it was such a cool opportunity being able to sit in my business and see this amazing, again, the scale of it, and again, the duration of it for anyone who wasn't out there. It was very incredible. So again, thank you to the whole crew of City of Wasilla who was able to provide that.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Any other comments? Staff and commission, any? Megan?
Nothing for me.
Dan?
I had a question. At our September meeting, we made a resolution in support of expansion of the Bumpus ball fields. And I was wondering, what are the mechanics of that resolution? Was there something that was gonna happen after our meeting about it? Or was there some recognition going to the city council that we did that resolution, or where, does anybody know where that's at?
Pat?
So my understanding is that, because again, that was a little while ago. Resolution of support, I took it to the clerk's office, and they needed, I think, some clarification, because what I think that what we're looking for was, yes, supporting the softball foundation, but the plan was so macro that I think that's kind of stopped the process of directly supporting it.
Okay.
But it's still something that, as a commission, you can support, because there's certain things that have already been funded for the softball that are in there, and so there's certain things in your plan that aren't necessarily either funded, or maybe they aren't a reality. And so the line is finding the balance of what we can put on in a resolution or an ordinance. I always forget which is which. Was it an ordinance of support?
It's on page 5 of 6
Here we
on
go.
our previous minutes. It just says,
Resolution, okay, there we
made a
go.
resolution supporting, and then there was all commissioners were in
Yeah.
favor, but I didn't know the next step or where that went from that point, or how does that play out?
Yeah, so basically, what we need to do is, you had provided a printed copy. Do you guys have a PDF copy of your plan? Do you know?
The executive director, Adam Imperato, attended that meeting and had a presentation that he was working from.
Yeah.
I imagine we could ask him to provide some documentation.
Yeah. Something, yeah, and we'll push this through to have something come to you guys at the next meeting, because I do know we're also getting ready to go into budget cycle
Okay.
and all that kind of stuff. So a big part of it is making sure what you guys are supporting, if you're supporting everything and all of it, or are you supporting the concept, and just kind of making sure that wordology kind of lines up appropriate with where the commission's duties lie versus if it's outside of, budgets and your purview and that kind of thing. So it's finding that balance. So, yeah, we'll bring that to the next meeting or prior.
If you could get a hold of the presentation,
Okay.
bring that to the next meeting, we can maybe.
Well, you can get it to me prior.
Okay.
Then the goal will be to have a resolution drawn up for your review. And then, yes, that would give you something to pass per se.
Okay, I'll make contact with Adam and request that he provides that to
Yeah,
you.
because don't want the commission to vote on something that if they haven't seen the plan that your whole, they may be supporting you in concept, but if you guys are not agreeing with everything there, because part of it is if you're agreeing to gold faucets, that may not be what you really want to do, but yeah, you should have faucets, whatever it is. So it's
Okay.
making sure that if you guys, as a commission, not as an association, is that, if there's things in there that maybe you don't support, you just don't want to rubber stamp somebody's whole proposal. So it's finding that balance is, I think, what I'm trying to find. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. That's all I had, Dave.
Okay. So,
I did have another question off of that question. Is the city of Wasilla right now very open to a lot of new ideas when it comes to expansion in terms of like Bumpus Ball Field? From your experience with the recent city council meetings, what type of feedback have you been getting?
So, not speaking for Madam Mayor, not speaking for the council, the budget process. So, previous year was a very supportive in a lot of expenditures. Right now, there's I don't want to say a mini pause, but okay, are we spending the money right? And all the things we invested in. And then what are the priorities if that funding level, let's say, makes an adjustment? They're still funding things because infrastructure is a big deal right now. And there's a lot of big infrastructure projects going on or that are going to be going on. So right now, all of that, that's what I say, is in the next, I don't have the calendar in front of me, I apologize. In the next 2 months, Madam Mayor and the administration are reviewing the budget cycle. Starting January 21st, the city council will have its first special session to begin the budget development so that they're going to kind of say, these are things that we're interested in. And then so once the administration, I'm not the administration, I am part of the administration, as the directors and Madam Mayor get kind of the city council's direction or interest, then the administration will be developing a budget based on that. Then it gets presented, and then any pet projects, any hot topics get brought up and are either cut or added, funded in finding that balance. So was that Switzerland enough?
Thank you.
Because again, I can't speak on behalf of the council, but I think they're just, everyone's trying to make sure that they're spending the money right, and that they're supporting the decisions that they previously have made. And also, I know it's Dave's favorite word, the feasibility studies and the comprehensive plans they just want to know those things are in play or in place so that we're not just spending without a plan. And so that's kind of, I think, a version of where we are right now. But there's been a lot of investment from the city in infrastructure and a lot of, the parks have always been very well supported as good projects have been brought to them. And again, you've been seeing, I think, impact out at the softball, for example. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for giving that side of the coin.
Yeah, and I'll bring, as we develop our budget, the rec services also, it's one of those where if you guys, as we usually give you a copy of the breakdown of the rec programs and again, the fireworks show and the cost of, all these different programs that we do, like music in the park, things like that. Again, giving you guys an opportunity to say, yeah, let's keep supporting that. Let's kill this. Let's add there. And that can also help me when I do my presentations to council to say the Park and Rec Commission is really supporting more family activities or expanding this and that kind of stuff. So we'll kind of keep working together on that.
And I would ask that as we go forward with doing this, because we all know we've spent a lot of time doing planning and revising the plan and then revising that plan. It would be good to know from your side of the fence what we've talked about in the past and what you see is coming down the path towards a completion, either a process or negating it.
Yeah, yeah,
So you could help us in that situation.
absolutely. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is building implementation plans and kind of figuring out, all right, how are we going to do it? Figure out a task list. All right, how do we get to this? And figure out what exactly the priorities are for the city of Wasilla. Right now, a lot of them are being addressed very well, in my opinion. But overall, there's always changes that are happening to our city. There's always changes that are happening to our parks. And so definitely updating the plans to make sure that they're addressing those needs is very critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there again, that's what we looked to for, was to get our followers at Facebook and getting some survey monkeys out there, getting some ideas of what they're thinking. Because without them, we're just wandering around in the pond.
Yeah, and I think that is a big component. And I think Nunley Park was an example of there was action without as much input from the community, and that put that to a halt, which is good and bad all at the same time, right? And so I think they started doing the focus groups or the community feedback thing. So I know that a lot of that is built into everything that's kind of coming on these kind of.
Well, if we don't do it, we're criticized.
Correct.
Big thing I think is, again, action. When you start to do something, there's always going to be someone who's going to be mad about something. And so, yeah, providing the opportunity to speak up in our community is critical, but also doing some changes and seeing the trees gone over there and all the changes that we did have with it. Yeah, it's definitely weird, and I won't lie, it's kind of strange, but it's also exciting because every time we see a change, we keep on seeing it get better and better and better. The fireworks were better. The city's, gating is better. We got better lighting going on. Overall, the city's trying to do what we can to improve, and there is always going to be people that have, the change of our community and how Alaska and the old and the new Alaska. But overall, I think if we provide proper feedback, we'll definitely get it done really quick and fast.
Yeah, and a big part, I think, from the city's point of view is we're trying to get out of the old mold of that's the way we have always done it. And we're looking at, a lot more attention to detail, if it's ground up to make things better and just keep looking at every corner instead of just that big shiny thing. And,
Transparency is the key.
yeah, you may go and I did a park and not see that we spent a lot of money on electrical, right? But those are the things that have been happening throughout, if they're repairing, replacing, doing a lot of that kind of stuff. So it's a combo of you see it or you don't see it, but there is a lot going on.
And there again, that's the kind of thing that the general public needs to hear. You saw what happened. This is what we did in this park. Give them something to think about. And ask for their input. And that's, like I said, without their input, we're just wandering around. Whatever that means for you.
I do have to say, sometimes the people that use the park, I don't know if they know the right feedback or they don't know the right thing to say, and so that's where I think the city's done a really good job of the Facebook page and stuff. Overall, I think most of the people that are vocal in our community have the opportunity to speak up very well, so we're really getting to the point where speaking up is one thing, but now to see some actions. I'd like to see some of our big groups that we do have in the city of Wasilla that have amazing, turnout. Hey, let's have them come to our committee and have them speak up or something like that, because I do know there's a lot of groups out there that do get a lot of feedback. It's really time to start speaking on our feedback and starting to get some action done in our community. And representation in our community would be really nice to see, kind of, again, some of these groups really represent themselves a little bit better.
I would think that as we go forward, there should be some thought processes of what, like I was saying about the survey monkeys, of thinking of ways to get somebody to respond in a favorable way without being nitpicky or,
Defensive or.
yeah. We're asking for your help and this is what we need to have.
Yeah, again, as everyone knows, we have this meeting every 2 months and public is welcome to attend. And we have city council normal schedules every 2 weeks, which is public comment, so everyone is more than welcome during those times also to provide any feedback at any time.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Last chance.